So basically, when we introduce loneliness, suffering, sensory overload to the baby, then the baby does not object that, whatever species that baby is, including humans. For thousands of years, the mechanism of limbic imprint was deliberately used to create soldiers and slaves out of mammals. So, what I'm saying is that birth was never just about birth. The way we come into this world has such an enormous specter of implications that it would be silly not to use it. So when we look around at the state of this world, we don't see a very encouraging picture. In South Africa, C-section rates are up to 95%. In most of the third world countries, C-section rates are up to about 80-85%. In the US, it's 32%, but it's only legal statistics. Nurses in the hospitals are saying across the border that the numbers are greatly reduced, that the truth is about 70-80%. And why is it so worrisome? It's because the basic emotional side effect for a baby who went through the experience of being born by C-section is the desire not to take charge. There is an amazing publication by Dr. William Emerson in his dissertation that is called Birth Trauma, the Side Effects of Obstetrical Intervention, that was published in the fall of 1995. He listed all the possible routine ways and procedures and experiences that baby is subjected to in the delivery room, and it was about page and a half long list. And then he studied 10,000 people, worked very closely, very tediously. He is very meticulous that way. And he noticed that there is very specific patterns in the way, for example, C-section babies act psychologically, emotionally. Children who were subjected to forceps, you know the word forceps? The vacuum, the different kinds of drugs, different incubators, separation from the twin if the twin dies. So he just listed all of those and just was absolutely stunned how similar the behavioral patterns are when they're adults. And one of the most pronounced side effects of C-section is that those are the babies who have tendency to just sit back and wait when somebody comes in and does something for them. Mm-hmm. Even if they would see some very clear course of action, they have a tendency to spend 10 times more energy to organize somebody else to do what needs to be done. That's sort of this manipulative kind of leadership. Or the other side of it is just sitting back and waiting. There is also another, I have to mention, there is postscriptum, that there is another kind of side effect from C-section when C-section was a result of emergency, when it was a real medical situation, when the mother tries and tries, and then C-section comes as a rescue kind of measure. Then the limbic imprint is the one of, nothing to worry about. No matter how tight it gets, the help will come. So they have tendency to keep creating all kind of impasses in their life, and then watch them sort of having a close call of passing through. So, of course, our limbic imprint is not all we are. So, it is a very prominent feature in our nervous system. It's there to stay. There is nothing that we could do with it. It's there, like the color of our eyes, like the length of our fingers. There is not much you can do about it. You have what you have. You experienced what you experienced. But then we also have all kinds of other layers to our beingness, because we're not just mammals. We have many other aspects of our character, personality, consciousness, and parenting styles, and our soul's agenda that brought us here, our spirit's purpose that brought us here, which is two very different qualities of our being. So, for example, two little boys had experienced the same kind of extreme violence in their childhood, when they were beaten, when they were, scared for their life on a daily basis, and they grew up with a very fragmented, distorted vision of people, of world, of themselves, were extremely anxious and sort of not easy to be around. So with very similar imprints, one became Pablo Picasso and one became Adolf Hitler. So the way we channel our specific basic settings, what we do with it, how we express ourselves when we finally grow up and have access to choices that we make, is part of a much bigger picture than just imprinting. But going back to leadership, I would like to say also that even if we had a very traumatic birth, there is so much that can happen to, first of all, to neutralize that terrifying experience in our life. If we were born into excruciating pain that we felt like we were inflicting onto our mother, or if we felt unwanted or just scared for our life because the mother was trying to abort us, or if there was anything other than bliss. Basically, that's what I consider trauma, anything other than bliss. Because our home frequency, our natural state of being is bliss. Before the story began, before we even had the notion of acquiring that physical body, when we were just a speck of consciousness in the vastness of the union with the source of all, we did not know anything other than bliss. So, while in the body there are so many things that we can actually do to claim our free will to being here and being the creative spirits that we are, and live to our full potential and claim that free will and use it. This is where I have fun. So we can talk about it later. I really would like you to see what it looks like when the child is born into a field of love and in a complete surrender to embodying. How beautiful it is. How many of you saw my film already? All right, it's really worth showing it. There is a lot of people who did not see it yet. I can't believe you didn't see it yet. Yeah. Well, it's a joke, but it has a really great reason for me being surprised, because everywhere I go, people already saw it. And it was made in '06, within the first year, without any marketing, any advertising. I did not move a finger to promote it. It was in 57 countries, translated by volunteers into 12 languages, and put in mandatory curriculum in many schools, and it's just, I'm so proud. So proud of it.